What killed the dinosaurs? Series of events following the asteroid impact. Welcome to Science for Real, where every mystery is unveiled and the truth always speaks. Today, we will take you back to a dark time 66 million years ago, when a massive asteroid collided with Earth, igniting a chain of horrifying events that sends chills down our spines just to mention. Our topic is, what killed the dinosaurs? And the chain of events following the asteroid impact. But this is not just a story about a simple collision. This is a journey through firestorms, colossal dust clouds, and darkness that unveiled the end of the era of the most powerful creatures in history. Science for Real, where the truth is the guide. Let's step into the dramatic world of science and uncover the truth hidden behind these lost pages of history. 1. The Great Cretaceous-Paleogene Extinction, the mystery of the dinosaurs' death. 66 million years ago, a horrifying event completely transformed the landscape of our planet, the Cretaceous-Paleogene (KPG) extinction. This was not merely a straightforward extinction event, but rather a series of catastrophic environmental and climatic shifts that continue to spark debate and exploration among scientists to this day. A gigantic asteroid, approximately 10 kilometers in diameter, struck Earth with enough force to create a massive crater and release an enormous amount of dust into the atmosphere. As a result, a collision winter enveloped the planet, blocking sunlight, causing a sudden drop in temperature, and halting photosynthesis. This led to a rapid collapse of global ecosystems, affecting everything from small plants to top predators in the food chain, such as non-flying dinosaurs. But the devastation didn't stop there. Toxic chemicals from sulfur and carbon-rich rocks that vaporized caused widespread acid rain, acidifying the oceans and exterminating vital marine organisms like corals and plankton. With the disappearance of these ocean architects, coral reefs, the lifeblood of countless marine species, quickly deteriorated, leading to mass deaths within the ecosystem. In the post-apocalyptic darkness, only a few species with exceptional adaptive capabilities managed to survive, paving the way for a new era. Small mammals and the first birds began to establish dominance, creating the diverse tapestry of life we know today. However, the story isn't completely over. Another piece of this puzzle lies in the intense volcanic eruptions from the Deccan Traps in India. Did these colossal eruptions contribute to the demise of the dinosaurs, or were they merely coincidental phenomena? This remains an open question that science continues to seek answers for. 2. The impact of the collision. When the cosmic boulder knocked on Earth's door 66 million years ago, an uninvited guest from space decided to pay Earth a visit in a rather extravagant style. A colossal asteroid, large enough to make every dinosaur tremble, collided with our blue planet, and as we know, this was not a peaceful encounter. Upon impact, this collision unleashed an unprecedented chaos. Imagine throwing a pebble into a pond, but instead of a gentle ripple, you create a full-blown storm, dust, debris, and sparks scattering across the sky, blocking sunlight and transforming Earth into a giant oven, only to be chilled instantly by what is known as a collision winter that lasted for years. It was indeed the ancient version of hot and cold surprises. But it didn't stop there. What followed was a series of events that seemed straight out of a Hollywood disaster movie. Gigantic tsunamis, widespread wildfires, and acid rain from toxic chemical clouds poured down everywhere, forcing the organisms that barely survived the dark days to confront new challenges. Marine life, particularly small creatures like plankton and corals, suddenly felt as if they were living in a vast, sour soup, and the result? A multitude of species, from the depths of the ocean to the towering dinosaurs, gradually bid farewell to Earth. This ushered in a new chapter for the planet, the era of smaller and smarter creatures, like mammals and birds, who had quietly been waiting for their turn to dominate. It was indeed a memorable lesson that uninvited boulders can show up anytime. 3. The chain of events following the impact. When the colossal asteroid crashed uninvited, it didn't just leave a crater. It ignited a series of events that would make even action movies bow in awe. Imagine throwing a party so extravagant that your house literally collapses. That's how Earth felt at that moment. Immediately after the impact, the immense heat turned everything within thousands of kilometers into ash, as if our planet were competing in a giant baking contest. But that was just the beginning. Debris was flung into space and rained back down to Earth like fiery meteors, setting the ground ablaze as if it had entered an apocalyptic fireworks festival. But wait, that's not the crucial point yet. A few days later, as sunlight was blocked by the enormous dust cloud, temperatures plummeted, and a terrifying collision winter began that would last for years. Dinosaurs, lacking thick coats or heaters to endure the cold, started to feel anxious, if they could, that is. And it wasn't just cold, acid rain began to pour down, adding insult to injury. The raindrops, filled with chemicals, transformed the land and water into a deadly cocktail for the vulnerable creatures. The poor marine life suddenly felt as if they were living in a gigantic lemon juice bath. Ultimately, Earth became a stage of complete chaos. Wildfires, freezing temperatures, acid rain, and oceans turning into a place where even corals wanted to pack up and leave. Those who survived this phase had to be incredibly resilient and clever. That's how small mammals and birds began to take center stage and write a new chapter of life on Earth. It turns out that this impact was not just a destructive kick, but also the beginning of a grand performance, where the smaller players finally had the chance to rise and become the new rulers. 4. Global warming. When Earth turned on the roast mode. After the devastating impact, Earth didn't just enter a freezing cold period. It also stepped into a phase that would make anyone exclaim, "Oh my, it's too hot." The global climate suddenly flipped into roasting mode due to the massive amounts of CO2 released from the collision. When the asteroid struck, it not only caused explosions but also vaporized tons of carbon-rich rocks, releasing CO2 into the atmosphere. The result was a prolonged global warming event lasting hundreds of thousands of years, turning the planet into an unwanted giant sauna. An increase of 7 degrees Celsius might not sound catastrophic, but for the living organisms of that time, it was a never-ending nightmare. The oceans heated up rapidly, and coral reefs, already battered by acid rain and tsunamis, now faced temperatures beyond their tolerance. Marine animals had to choose between migrating to cooler waters or giving up their lives. On land, survivors of the impact faced a fiery environment where finding cool water and shade became a daily survival game. This intense heat was not just a trial by fire for life but also a test of adaptability for species. Those capable of adapting and thriving in the new conditions emerged as the dominant players, while the weaker ones were eliminated. This is how nature continued to select and write a new chapter for Earth. A chapter that we, as humans, still feel the effects of today through the legacies and consequences it left behind. 5. The impact of acid rain and ocean oxidation. When Earth got soaked and sour. Following the catastrophic impact of the asteroid, Earth not only heated up but also endured a series of other calamitous events, prominently featuring acid rain and ocean oxidation. If you imagine Earth as a restaurant, this would undoubtedly be the extremely sour lemonade that no one would want to order. When the asteroid struck, gigantic chemical clouds filled with sulfur and carbon ascended into the sky. These substances combined with water vapor to create acid rain, pouring down onto the land and oceans. The result was a downpour that devastated both terrestrial plants and animals while transforming the waters into an unfriendly environment. Marine organisms, especially those with calcium shells like corals and plankton, were attacked by increasingly acidic waters. Even the toughest relatives of corals found it sour to realize that, no matter how resilient they were, their calcium shells couldn't withstand the constant acid rain. But it didn't stop there. The enormous amounts of CO2 from the impact also caused the oceans to become oxidized. This phenomenon reduced the oxygen levels in the water, leaving marine animals facing severe oxygen shortages. Aquatic organisms reliant on dissolved oxygen felt as if they were trying to breathe through a clogged straw. This led to mass deaths, severely damaging marine ecosystems. The double whammy of acid rain and ocean oxidation created an ecological crisis like never before, as both the oceans and land struggled to adapt. Yet from the ashes of this devastation, the most resilient species began to rise, starting anew and building an entirely different world. 6. The recovery process of life. Resurrection from the ashes. After the asteroid impact left Earth in ruins, it seemed as though life had completely extinguished. However, the essence of life is surprisingly strong and resilient. From the midst of ashes and chaos, the journey of recovery began, a tale as miraculous as the extinction that had occurred. Initially, small plants and animals became the pioneers of this rebirth. Small mammals, which had previously lived in the shadows under the dominance of dinosaurs, suddenly found an opportunity to rise. They rapidly evolved and diversified, taking control of the empty lands left behind by the dinosaurs. Birds, the descendants of dinosaurs, not only survived the catastrophe but also evolved vigorously, becoming the diverse avian species we see today. In the depths of the ocean, marine organisms began to rebuild their world. Although many species of corals and plankton had been wiped out by the effects of ocean oxidation and acid rain, a few managed to survive and laid the groundwork for the revival of the marine ecosystem. New coral reefs formed, primarily from modern coral species, replacing the extinct mollusks and rudists. This recovery process did not happen overnight. It took millions of years for Earth to truly regain its balance and vitality. The prolonged global warming altered ecosystems and led to the evolution of species with greater adaptive capacities. Mammals, with their intelligence and flexibility, gradually asserted their crucial roles in the food chain, paving the way for an evolutionary period that ultimately gave rise to humans. From global crisis to remarkable resurgence, the story of life after disaster is a testament to the incredible power of nature. It is a journey from extinction to rebirth, as Earth turned to a new page and continued to write its vibrant story. 7. The debate on volcanic activity. The secrets behind the disaster. When discussing the Cretaceous-Paleogene Extinction event, we cannot overlook a mysterious character in the story: the intense volcanic activity from the Deccan Traps in India. Dubbed the Hell's Furnace, this region experienced continuous eruptions, releasing vast amounts of CO2 and sulfur into the atmosphere, creating a shroud that obscured the sky and impacted the global climate. But the big question remains: did this volcanic activity play a role in the demise of the dinosaurs? Some scientists argue that volcanic eruptions occurred both before and after the asteroid impact, potentially worsening climatic conditions. The greenhouse gases emitted from the volcanoes could have caused prolonged warming on Earth, compounded by the effects of the impact, making survival increasingly difficult for life on the planet. The colossal sulfur clouds and ash created a temporary cooling effect, but once they settled, the remaining CO2 continued to drive global warming. However, not everyone agrees with this hypothesis. Some contend that volcanic activity played a minor role in the extinction event and did not have as severe an impact as the asteroid collision. Others suggest that the impact may have triggered or amplified volcanic activity, leading to an unprecedented destructive combination. Although the Deccan Traps are thousands of kilometers away from the asteroid impact site, the force of the explosion could have induced significant changes deep within the Earth. The debate continues, and no definitive answers have emerged. The interplay between the meteorite and volcanic activity constitutes a dramatic sequence of events that Earth has experienced, and gaining a deeper understanding of these phenomena will help us recognize potential threats in the future. Until more evidence surfaces, the secrets of this combination remain one of the greatest puzzles in natural history. And that is the story of the fateful impact that forever changed the face of our planet. From the hellish fires that incinerated everything, to the hazy dust blocking the sunlight, and the freezing days that plunged Earth into darkness. The extinction of the dinosaurs was not merely an ending, but the beginning of a new era, paving the way for other species, including us, humans. Remarkably, from that disaster, life found a way to survive and thrive stronger than ever. Science for Real, where the truth is the guide, is always here to help you explore these inspiring historical events and understand that every turning point carries a story of rebirth and hope. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe and follow so you don't miss any other exciting discoveries. See you in the next journey. Globe sparkles.